I don't think I would be stepping out of bounds. Practically unplayable. There's no enemies. There should be enemies here. Ladies and gentlemen, we have a new Moonkin. Is it fixed? This was a practically... I don't think I would be stepping out of bounds. Practically unplayable. There's no enemies. There should be enemies here. Where are the enemies? Well, do we see a dinosaur? I do not see a dinosaur. There's the totem. Oh, there is a boss over there. Huh. Anyway, I don't know what's going on. But sure. Okay, anyway. So, I don't think it's far out to say... I'm pretty sure we're going to die here. That the Moonkin, I just got teleported, was practically unplayable. For the most part. Recently, like, was it fun? No. It was pretty bad. We're going to pop coolies here, because this is, like, a very weird scenario that I'm in right now. So, let's do our best here to try and solve this situation. Practically unplayable. It was super slow. It generated basically no astral power, like, at all. And you couldn't press any of your abilities. It was a mess. An absolute mess. And people coming from the Legion... I need to kill these totems, don't I? The Legion version of the Moonkin were feeling like Blizzard had absolutely screwed them over. And kind of rightfully so, I think. I think that's a fair shout. The changes... The problem is, and I've seen this argument a lot, and I think it's a really interesting argument. And the argument is that Legion made the Moonkin too fun. It's really interesting. I think that's an interesting comment from some people. I think that's a terrible point of view to say that in a video game, you know what? They made this class too fun. It makes sense that they're making it worse. Like, what? We're playing a video game. What do you mean they made it too fun? What are you talking about? Yeah, I'm looking forward to a period of time where it's less fun, so it can be fun again at a different period. I don't know. But either way, it's food for thought for later in the video. I'll let you guys think on that one. They had this awful situation where you just couldn't cast anything. You're basically just casting like normal Wrath, normal Lunar Strike for a really, really long period of time. I've got no coolies for this, which is a bit of a bummer. And then when they're empowered, people started to remember, which was a big problem that a lot of people pointed out in, including myself, in Legion. Alpha and Beta, is that actually the empowered spells just aren't that fun anyway. I'm still even though you're telling me they're empowered and all this, right? But I'm still just casting the same spells. Like, you're giving me an excuse to use the more AoE-centric spell like Lunar Strike single target. Sure, that's okay. But for the most part, not that interesting. So we couldn't cast Star Surges when we wanted. We couldn't cast Starfalls when we wanted. So if you haven't been keeping up with the Moonkin, that's generally the position they were in. And for the most part, I think it's safe to say most people did not want to play Moonkin in BFA. They were looking at it as essentially a dead spec. It was one of the only specs that was declared a dead spec. So recently they announced, like before today, they announced significant changes to the Moonkin. They were like, yeah, we heard you. We're going to do what we can to fix it. And they came up with some ideas of what that was going to look like. And now it's actually here. Let's interrupt the fear. I'm not really thinking it's wise to pull all this stuff. And this is a bad idea, dude. Because there's fears in here and all sorts. I don't know what's going to happen here. I should have taken shooting stars. So what are the changes they proposed? Well, we're going to get feared. No, I can't interrupt that. A whole bunch of stuff. So they tried to make empowerments more interesting. So one of the things they've changed is like when you get solar empowered for your solar wrath. that will now do splash damage, similar to Lunar Strike, right? Now, good pull. Very fun. Good, you interrupted it. Very nice. Although I can't cast on it. Good, 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 good. Good, good, good. This is my life now. I have Solar Beam. We're good. Where is it? There it is. It's stuck in a wall, I think. I can't cast anything on it. Can I knock it out? Ugh. I tried. No, it's stuck under the floor. So maybe I can AO splash. Are they all stuck in the floor now? Oh, awesome. Good, good, good. Alright, somebody can whirlwind it. Whatever. They tried to make the empowerments more interesting. And they also shifted a lot of the stuff that cost astral power to now be astral power generators. So let's have a quick look at the talent tree. So you can see this talent tree looks very, very different now compared to what you'll see in Legion. They've added in the Lady in the Moon shoulder enchant into the talent tree in the form of twin moons. So the same tier as Soul of the Forest. The obvious question will be which one. Are we already doing the last boss? Oh my god, this is going to be a short ride. Let's have a quick respec so I can show you some single target stuff. Yeah, it's actually weekend, so I don't actually have time to do another dungeon right now. God damn. Certainly not to queue again. All right. Let's go with Incarnation and Fury of a Loon. So Fury of a Loon is now kind of a fire and forget spell. But it generates astral power, so you'll see that here. So I can now fire off the Treants, and the Treants are also astral power generators. So you should hopefully see a fair bit of astral power coming my way here. So let's redot this before this guy appears. Plow into this. So now what we have is this awesome situation where we have a very steady generation of astral power, which I think is super important. As you can see, I can press my spells. I'm empowered most of the time. I'm able, with this setup, to keep my Star Surges going. On top of this, they've also added a passive, which is when you're casting, naturally casting, say, Solar Power, Solar Wrath, or Lunar Strike, it could actually proc empowerment for the other spell. So if I'm casting Lunar Strike or whatever, there's actually a chance it will just naturally give me a Lunar Strike proc instead of only getting the procs from Star Surge, right? So that can naturally happen now. And in fact, so probably after this, I'm going to jump to a dummy just so I can show you this stuff. So let's get rid of this. Let's get out of here. That's a shame. It's a shame we didn't get to do the whole dungeon. I would really like to have shown off more stuff, because I want to talk a little bit about shooting stars. Oh, good. We're here anyway. Nice. So, yeah. So, if I show you this, let me get rid of my empowerments. Alright, so we have no empowered spells now, right? So, now we have this passive. If I spam Solar, I think it's a 20% chance. I'll check the tooltip in a second. There you go. You see? Lunar Strike is now empowered as well. So it's here, Eclipse. It's what they're calling Eclipse now. Lunar Strike has a 20% chance to grant you Solar Empowerment, and Solar Wrath has a 20% chance to grant you Lunar Empowerment. So what this is doing is just propping up the gaps, should you have any in Astral Power Generation, where you're like, well, I can't even cast a Star Surge. You don't really run into that anymore, because naturally, even while you're using your empowered spells, there's a chance they're actually throwing an empowerment onto the other one at the same time, right? That's passively happening alongside all the other spells you're casting. That does add some weight to what's going on. It does add some more interesting. It doesn't feel, which I think is a big problem for Balanced Druids, casting non-empowered spells feels terrible. Right? It feels terrible. It's fine if you're starfalling the world, right? It's fine if you're starfalling the world, but if you're doing single target DPS and you're casting non-empowered spells, it feels really grim. And you remember, I do Mythic Antaurus on my Balanced Druid every week. I love playing my Balanced Druid in Legion. So that makes things better. Let's have a look as well. So they added Astral Power Generation to Force of Nature, which a lot of people were asking for. Let me move down here. That's a very noisy area to be in. So you can see now, when you fire off the Treants, which have been kind of considered useless for a while compared to other astral power things that you get in tier 1. Now that's actually generating astral power, and I believe it should be if you're doing like a raw single target. The idea is that Force of Nature should probably be the best, is what they're going for. Warrior of Illusion still exists. Nature's Balance. So they've got rid of swapping between lunar and solar buffs, which I'm not surprised by. I like it on live, but there is some intricacies there that I'm not surprised with the way BFA is shaping up that they've gotten rid of that. There was some fun things you could do with swapping your buffs in certain cooldowns and then swapping back again, which I think people hear about and they don't like it. Like this micromanagement to maximize. It wasn't a massive gain, but they've got rid of that and just made it a passive. I'm really not surprised to see this in. So Nature's Balance now. While in combat, you generate just astral power. Right? It's the Blessing of Anshe. I'm probably going to get them wrong. I know it is the yellow and the blue. While out of combat, your astral power rebalances to 50 instead of depleting to empty. So now you get this astral power buffer zone when you start. And you're just passively going to be generating astral power all the time. So it's a very go-to standard build. So in dungeons and stuff, unless you need to like nuke AoE like Warrior of Elune would provide, you're likely to be taking Nature's Balance as just a nice passive go-to. It keeps your astral power nice and high, makes the spec just feel fundamentally better because it's all reliant on astral power. That's okay. I'm fine with that. It feels like it should be baseline because it kind of makes the spec work in a lot of ways. But it's all right. Of course, we don't have dash anymore. I just want to remind people that Displace a Beast and whatnot is gone. You still have Wild Charge to bound backward for the disengage. But Tiger's Dash is all right. It's all right. Tiger's Dash is okay. It's super fast, which... I don't know. There's pros and cons to that. If you just want to move a short distance and Tiger's Dash is overkill, maybe Wild Charge is better for you, so you do have the choices. Moving down here then. So this is a weird one. I've been messing around with this. I did like 3 dungeons before this, which is why I'm kind of gutted that dungeon failed, which is unfortunate. So Incarnation is still here. Right, the big nuke. But you also have the choice now of Twin Moons, which is Lady and the Child shoulders. Yeah, so this is the one that Moonfire does more damage, and it also hits another nearby target. Or Soul of the Forest. So increases the damage bonuses from Lunar and Solar, and reduces the astral power cost of Starfall by 10. So that has been nerfed in terms of its Starfall application. So it's not as powerful anymore. I think on live it's like 30 or 40, something crazy reduction on the cost of Starfall. Now it's 10. I thought this would be the go-to, and it seems to be dependent on what talent you choose in the end row to go alongside with this. I'll talk about it in a second. It'll make more sense. So Stellar Draft is still here. Stellar Flare is still here. That still does cost. And Star-Lord is still here. So Star-Lord has been okay if you can get it going. It's basically a tier bonus most of you will be used to if you played Moonkin before. Star Surge and Starfall grant you 3% haste. Stacks up to 3 times. Gaining a stack does not refresh the duration. So a passive bonus, or you get the mobility from Stellar Drift, or if you can, you can do some good stuff with Stellar Flare. Okay, so let's go to the interesting one. So Fury of Elune, 1.3 minute cooldown, which kind of doesn't line up perfectly with Celestial Alignment, because that's 3 minutes, which is kind of annoying. But I found it okay, because its purpose for me isn't really something to pair with Celestial Alignment, although that's obviously what you'd want to do to maximize damage. Instead, and it works well in the way BFA dungeons work, is if the dungeon isn't, say, very trash heavy. So you're not going to be doing like 10 plus mobs at a time. In fact, you're going to be doing something like 3 or 4. The Underrot is a good example of this, where you're doing very contained small trash, but there's something very dangerous in there. Fury of Elune now... it's totally changed from what it is in Legion. It now generates 40 astral power over its duration, right? And does obviously extra damage to one enemy. So you cast it on an enemy. It calls down a beam of pure celestial energy that follows the target enemy for 8 seconds. So you don't have to position it or anything anymore. You just cast it on an enemy. It's just fire and forget. And it radiates damage. So its obvious purpose is when you're pulling these trash packs, these contained trash packs, is that you are essentially just burning that target and prioritizing that target. That works really well in BFA dungeons. For the most part, that's actually a good deal. Because usually there's some trash packs, like I say, specifically Underrot is like this, where there's one really scary enemy, and then there's several other enemies which are pretty scary, but there's not a whole bunch of them. They're very mechanics heavy. Fury of Elune works quite well with that. And in fact, I believe, just on a gut feeling, I'm not doing the math on this yet. Let the boys in the lab do that. But it feels like when I've been playing in the last couple of dungeons that you want to pair up Fury of Elune and Soul of the Forest, right? And the reason for that is that Shooting Stars, which you would be if you're playing Legion, it's like the go-to dungeon one, right? Doesn't feel like it's been changed a little bit. It's 10% chance to generate 2 astral power. Until you're getting lots of enemies, it even with like double dots on everything, it doesn't feel like it's really picking up until like 5 or 6 mobs to make it better than the burst, because you do get a lot of bursts from Fury of Loon, because obviously you can get your Starfall down quickly, you can just then keep them rocking and rolling, and you're also burning that scary enemy. That works really well. But if you are taking Twin Moons, either this is going to be because the ads are very spread out, or you're doing lots and lots of ads. So there's a lot of global cooldowns going on Moonfires. And then this plays well into Shooting Stars. So you have this combo. New Moon for me, I've given it another try. I'm still not a fan of this talent at all. It feels wasteful. Whether it mathematically is nice, it doesn't really matter to me, because gameplay-wise, it still feels like absolute shite. The problem with it is it's just the cooldown is just so fucking long. So if you can watch, it's actually here. Once you get that full moon out, you're just waiting a really long time to do it again. Certainly to get up to anything of worth. You can set it up to line up the cooldowns and stuff, which is probably what they want you to do, but I'm not feeling it. We still haven't got it back. So you're just waiting and waiting. Now, again, the main point of this video then, is this spec way better than what it was? Yes. We're coming from a point of almost unplayable in many cases. So, of course it's better. Of course it's better. It's much, much better. It flows. You have enough astral power to use the abilities you want to use on a regular basis. The talents, you can make some good choices. You are going to be talent swapping a lot with this setup, I would imagine. I mean, we do that a lot anyway. I talent swap pretty regularly in Antorus. And I still think that'll be the case. That's not a bad thing. I don't think there's a real problem with tailoring your character to the boss. It tends to hurt the more casual players more than anyone else, because those are the guys that never respec under any circumstances. I mean, it's not under any illusion, I imagine, that most people are going to spec something like this. Maybe Soul of the Forest or Twin Moons will swap, but I would imagine most people will take Twin Moons, and then they'll stay like that forever. And that'll be it. They never respec. That's a big problem a lot of the player base has. But for raiders and stuff, yeah, you're going to be tailoring around which dungeon specifically. Again, like I said, with Twin Moons and Shooting Stars, it feels like you'll be going either this or you'll be going something like this, depending on the dungeon you're in. That's kind of cool. You're going to get some variation in your gameplay, different sources. I like that. That's totally up my alley. I want to be picking different things for different jobs. The other question is it anywhere near as fun as Legion? And I think unequivocally, no. Not even close. I would hesitate to... I would call these night and day. The loss of having certainly much more interesting legendaries. They have given us Lady and the Child. And in a recent conversation I had with some druids, Lady and the Child was the one I was less interested in getting rather than, say, Onets. Obviously, Radiant Moonlight doesn't even get a look in with the way New Moon works now. Is it as fun as Legion? No. But it's certainly playable. Whether or not you feel that it's okay that Legion gave too much, I mean, for me, there's a big difference between something being overpowered or broken for a couple of weeks and then the game and then the designers fixing it, and compared to the way something plays for years and then being kind of okay with getting a crappier version of that. Yes, my boy. Wow, my son got a certificate. Awesome. Hey, well done, mate. And you going up to big school? Yeah, good boy. Well, good. Where are we going to put this?
I know.
Where?
Right.
On my desk. Is this going on my desk?
They know.
My desk. Ladies and gentlemen, the new Moonkin. Thank you so much for tuning in. I'm going to go spend my Saturday with my boys. We're going to go out. Yeah. All right. Bye-bye, everybody. See ya.